4, and it is Australia's National Flag Day. This day has been set aside to commemorate the moment our flag first officially flew back in 1901 at the Royal Exhibition Building in Melbourne. It was a big deal. And I think it's an opportunity for us all to reflect on how our key national symbol is so important, what it means to us today. So this bloke understands the history, significance of our flag better than anybody I know. I admit, and maybe he may shy away when I say he's a very good friend of mine. Allan Pidgeon AM is the chair of the Australian National Flag Association. Good to see you, Allan, and happy National Flag Day.
Thanks so much, Gary.
I mean, isn't it good? It's good that we tell the full story about the flag. It's good that we rally around the flag and promote the flag.
Well, we think it's such a unique and inspiring story. It's a pity that more Australians don't know it. You know, we had the world's first ever flag design competition. No other country had thought of letting every citizen have a go in designing the national symbol. So, you know, that's pretty unique.
And 7 people agreed on this design, is my recollection.
There were 5 who tied as winners because their designs were so similar. The response to the competition was huge. This was just post-Federation, 1901, and there was a great deal of interest in this. Entries were received from nearly 1% of the population at the time. And I always, when I'm talking to schools, I say it took a lot more effort than just clicking like on your computer. You had to get pencil and paper and do a sketch design and send it off to be judged. So there were nearly 33,000 of the entries and took 8 weeks for the judges to assess them all. And in the end, 5 entries were so similar that they were jointly awarded the prize. And the interesting thing is that they were just ordinary men and women. You know, there was even a teenager, a young schoolboy, Ivor Evans from Melbourne, a female artist from Perth, Annie Dorrington, another young bloke, an apprentice optician, an architect from Melbourne, and even a ship's captain from the Union Steamship Company. We've been trying to find material about their lives, but because they were just ordinary men and women, nobody thought, oh, well, that's someone that we need to preserve material of them. And so, you know, it's quite interesting that they have been a little bit airbrushed from history, I feel.
Yeah, and the fact is, I guess the point you're making is that this was owned by the people of Australia at the time, and now like 80-odd% of people still love this flag.
Yeah, well, according to the opinion polls, it's more popular than it's ever been, and, you know, partly we think that's because it's a symbol by Australians for Australians, and, you know, the fact that there was such a huge interest in the design of the flag, such a magnificent response to the competition. And then the flag, since 1901, has symbolised us in good times and bad, in peace and war. And, you know, it's something that has in its symbols something that symbolises our country, because the elements of it, the Union Jack does acknowledge that European settlement came from Great Britain, our national language, the parliamentary system of government, the rule of law. That's part of our history. But significantly, the Southern Cross acknowledges where we are in the world, but it's also a great significance in Aboriginal mythology. So for Aboriginal Australians, the Southern Cross has a great deal of meaning. And then for the future, the direction, all of us together as Australians, the Commonwealth Star, the Federation Star, symbolises the whole country united.
And, of course, it was 6 to start with, and then they put a 7th point on it a few years later, realising they should include the territories as
Indeed.
well. Yeah. So, I mean, the symbols are right, and the big blue fly, I mean, it says we're in the middle of the ocean. That's what I always say to people.
Girt by sea.
Yeah, girt by sea. And, of course, it's Merchant Navy Day today, so we'll see a few red ensigns flying around. So the red ensign was flown by the Merchant Navy, and we should acknowledge that as well. But it's the same design, just with a red field.
Indeed. In the competition, people were asked to put 2 entries, one for the official national flag and one for the Merchant Navy. And the winner for the Merchant Navy was the design in red, the red ensign as it's called. I'd have to say in the early days, the Commonwealth was pretty jealous, pretty protective of the flag. Sure. And they said, no, it can only be flown, the Australian flag can only be flown by the Commonwealth or official establishments. And so in the 1910s, 1920s, some Australians who wanted to be patriotic, and even some state schools, weren't allowed to fly the Australian national flag, so they flew the red ensign on land, which is not really what it's designed for. But then in the 40s and 50s, the government gave way and said, no, the flag can be flown by all Australians provided it's treated with respect as the national symbol.
And indeed, it was the Menzies government 53 that said this is the flag for all Australians, so that gave us the freedom to do that. The 96 legislation that John Howard perfected, in fact, gave control of the flag's destiny to the people. You can't change this design. Up until then, it could have been changed.
Theoretically, yeah.
Theoretically, yeah. I don't think anybody would have been game to. But the passion about this, as you say, good times and bad, when something good happens, people like to see the flag. Even walking through the building here at 4BC today, carrying these couple of small flags with me, there were smiles on people's faces. Oh, fantastic flag. Sophie Formica wants one of her own. You know, I'll bring her another one tomorrow. But the point is, it's great to see the flag. I think people are looking for unity, Allan. I really believe that the March for Australia, which, you know, uses the flag for one reason, is to say we're all Australians, no matter where we've come from. I thought the flag was the thing which could unite us, and we need to see it flying.
I agree. And in fact, it is more visible now than it has been. When we first started as a flag association, we used to have little stalls where we'd sell flag wavers, such as the ones you have now, other flag merchandise, because people couldn't buy them anywhere. Now they are available, and you do see the flag flying more frequently. We just wish people would take the chance to learn more about its history and also the significance, you know, that it embodies, and I suppose also the way it should be treated as a national symbol, you know, the etiquette of flag flying.
So making sure that it's flown properly, we understand the basics, like flying it upside down is distress, you never do that, but treating it with respect. Can you go through the sort of things you'd expect what respect looks like? Okay.
Well, for example, the protocol is that the flag should be raised and lowered each day according to sunset, but except if it's illuminated. If there's a light on the flag, it can fly day and night, and a lot of people do that for convenience. The flag shouldn't touch the ground. It's a symbol of the nation. When I was young, that was ingrained in us. These days, it's probably not as so common the knowledge. And sometimes at schools and scouts and things, you see people putting the flag on a flagpole and they start dangling.
I know, I go, oh no.
And you have to say, no, that's our national symbol. It's got to be treated with respect.
Yep.
We would like the Commonwealth to be more proactive in promoting flag etiquette so that people can find a source of information. As a voluntary association, we get queries from all over Australia, even from government departments, from state governments, local councils asking for flag advice. We just think it should be more common. The one query often is, can you have the flag on your coffin? And yes, there's nothing to stop any Australian citizen having that flag on their coffin.
It must be disappointing, and it'll be slightly tinged with politics in this question, but it must be disappointing to think some members of Parliament won't make a flag available when it's requested. You want to see the flag out there. If people want it, they should be able to get it.
Well, it's also, I think, inappropriate. Every Australian's entitled to their opinion. It's a free country. But if you put yourself up for public office, you have an obligation to respect the laws of the land. And as you pointed out, the Flags Act says this flag is the flag of Australia and shall remain so unless the people vote otherwise. Now, there has never been a vote for us to change the flag. And so those people who say that they're not going to stand behind the national flag or they won't give the flag out to constituents, that, I think, disrespects their role as lawmakers, people who should be abiding by the law.
How do you feel about things like the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander flags? I mean, they are part of the flag matrix, but they're not the national flag.
No, you're right. There is one Australian national flag. There are a number of flags of Australia. And under the Flags Act that you referenced, there's an opportunity to gazette other flags other than the Australian national flags. And quite a number have been, for example, the Governor-General's personal flag, flags for the Air Force, the Navy, etc. And more recently, the flag, as it was described in the Gazette, the flag of the Aboriginal peoples of Australia and the flag of the Torres Strait Islander people of Australia. So I describe those as people's flags. They have significance and they're recognised, but they don't have the status of the national flag.
Okay, so Australian National Flag Day is promulgated. It's acknowledged by government as this day.
Indeed. In 1996, the Governor-General signed a proclamation that September 3 each year would be commemorated as Australian national flag.
I voted for that legislation.
Yeah.
And I'm pleased I did, because I think it's important, because I think people need some certainty about where we are, who we are, where we belong, and the flag is a rallying point for us all, no matter what our history, what our background happens to be.
I agree. And as I say, we'd love people to learn more about its story. Our website, australianflag.net.au, has a wealth of resource material and other background information telling the story and the history of the flag and the sequence of events that led to the flag being adopted, and also something about the competition and some of the designs that didn't make it.
Okay.
There's some very intriguing ones that might have been our flag. I'm pleased, actually, that some of them weren't. One featured a kangaroo firing a shotgun through the stars of the Southern Cross.
Oh, it makes perfect sense to me.
Could have been the flag.
Okay, so you can join the Australian National Flag Association through that website too?
Indeed, yeah.
Okay,
AustralianFlag.net.au.
There we go. That's easy. AustralianFlag.net.au for people who want to know. Allan Pidgeon is the chair of the Australian National Flag Association. Great to see you. Happy Flag Day. Fantastic.